You're exhausted from your house. Not your house, not your age, nor your work. Even if they believe they are accustomed to the mess, persons who live in cluttered spaces are 77% more likely to report chronic exhaustion and poor sleep, according to studies from the National Sleep Foundation. In the meantime, Japanese households, many of which are smaller than an American garage, consistently report lower levels of daily stress and greater contentment with their living space. Why? They clean more intelligently rather than more forcefully. I'm going to give you 7 Japanese house tips today that are supported by tradition, science, and actual outcomes. You may begin practicing these useful mind-clearing techniques tonight. No trends, no fancy gadgets. Let's begin with number 7 because once you see it, you won't look away. Exactly the same manner at your house once more. The 7th trick is to open your windows every morning, regardless of the weather. You know what initially seemed strange to me? Even before preparing tea, my friend's 87-year-old aunt in Osaka shuffled silently to the window and opened it wide open on a chilly, wet morning. "Aren't you cold?" I said. With a soft smile, she remarked, "The air must walk through the house before I do." Later on, I learned that little gesture wasn't merely customary. It changed people's health and was supported by research. The practice of letting the air out of the house every morning, even in the cold, is known as kungi in Japan. According to research from the Japanese Ministry of Health, stagnant indoor air, even in cities, it contains up to 5 times more toxins than the air outside. Carbon dioxide accumulation, dust mites, and VOCs from furniture all build up while we sleep. However, that cycle can be reset by opening a window for as little as 10 minutes. Fresh air is not the only issue here. It's about preventing mold spores, reducing CO2 levels that cause stress, and even improving mental clarity. In fact, Japanese wellness experts discovered that everyday bedroom ventilation improved sleep quality by 23% and reduced respiratory discomfort. Ventilation is essential in tiny homes, particularly traditional ones, with sliding doors and tatami mat. Here's the brilliant bit, though. They do more than just break the window. A cross-current is produced by them. One window has a jar in it, a gentle wind route through the house, one in the front and one in the back. Some even verified the direction of airflow using kazafuki streamers or tiny paper fans. I tried it myself. Just a 10-minute habit. Every morning as I heat water for coffee and brush my teeth. Yes, there was less stuffiness in my house. More than that, though, I felt more alert. It felt as if my home itself breathed overnight, and I was letting it breathe again. That's why your home seems heavy, your mornings are slow, or you have to wipe down wet windows all the time. This is the easiest, most neglected home hack you can do. Before you do, let the air pass through. It's therapeutic as well as refreshing. The 6th hack is to hang items vertically. The Japanese technique of using walls as floors. Once you see this in a Japanese home, you won't soon forget it. Walls are more than just walls. They are shelves. They are hangers. They are kits of tools. These workstations are vertical. My first genuine experience with this was in a small Tokyo flat that was less than 500 square feet and housed a full-time office worker and her 2 children. And yet, the space felt twice as functional as my suburban kitchen. Why? Because she was able to use every vertical surface. This concept, which is based on Japanese practicality and minimalism, is particularly evident in the danger movement, decluttering, emotional separation, and then making the most of available space. According to a recent Nick-style poll, Japanese homes that use wall hooks, vertical storage, pegboards with magnetic strips reported a 41% increase in felt spaciousness and a 35% reduction in the amount of time spent cleaning up after meals. However, it goes beyond simply conserving space. It's about honoring gravity, which is clutter's adversary. Particularly on worktops, tables, and drawers, Japanese design avoids allowing objects to stack horizontally, since if one item lands, 5 more follow. However, items on the wall, such as spatulas, scissors, keys, reusable shopping bags, and even the dog's leash, are visible, reachable, and above the commotion. The wall keeps things from becoming clutter, one mother told me. I don't replicate anything if I can see it. And it's accurate. How many of us have 3 openers for cans, after the previous 2 were lost in a drawer jungle? I started incorporating magnetic strips for measuring spoons and knives in my own kitchen. Then there are pegboards for headphones, umbrellas, and masks next to the door. I didn't purchase any new furnishings. I simply improved upon what I already possessed. I don't rummage anymore. I get there. I don't stack things. I hang. Additionally, the place appears tidy every time I look around. Everything's because everything is floating rather than sinking into the muck, not because I cleaned everything. Give this a try right now. Choose a room that you utilize on a daily basis. Your bathroom, kitchen, or foyer. Just 3 hooks should be installed. That's all. And see how things start to raise themselves into position. It is not magical. It is Japan's subdued defiance of gravity. The 5th hack. Throughout the day, use a single wipe cloth to clean the microzone. Okay, during a home tour in Sapporo, I discovered the most bizarre item in a friend's drawer. 12 identical cotton cloths, each trimmed with a different color thread, are included in the box. I mistook them for handkerchiefs. They're for one wipe. Then I wash them, she added with a smile. What? Isn't that wasteful? She gave me an explanation of something I had never heard. A Japanese cleaning micro-habit known as the one-wipe rule is saving individuals hours each week. This is how it operates. You assign soft cloths or even cut up old t-shirts to specific zones, rather than using a general-purpose cleaning rag that turns into a bacterial swamp by day 2. Fridge handle, floor edge, sink, toilet seat, and remote control. Next, you give that little, after giving the area a single concentrated wipe, place the cloth in a tiny mesh laundry bag to be washed at the end of the week. Just consistency. No harsh chemicals, no sprays. How often and precisely you clean is more important than how hard you clean. And this is supported by science. Japan's Environmental Sanitation Center claims that daily wiping of high-touch surfaces with a damp cloth can reduce bacterial burdens by up to 96%. Bleach is not required. I began embracing this. Cut apart an old pajama top made of flannel. Each corner has a small color code stitched on it. Green for the kitchen, yellow for the handles, and red for the bathroom. After that, I only erased one zone every day. It took 15 seconds to use each cloth. However, after a week, in areas of my house that I was unaware had been dirty, it began to shine. The bathroom door knob, the cabinet lip, and the microwave button. Before they were cleaned, I had never given these regions any thought. Additionally, I wasn't transferring invisible filth from the bathroom to the bedroom because I wasn't recycling soiled towels. This hack is quite clever, but it's not glamorous. It honors your surfaces, your body, and your time. The best part is that it is strong enough to prevent mold growth in Japan's muggy summers, while also being soft enough for aging hands. Therefore, don't just fold garments the next time you do laundry. Cut up a soft object, put a little color on it, and transform your day into 12 small acts of self-care. The 4th hack, the system of seasonal box rotation. Store items in the same way as you cultivate a garden. I have a question for you that might be a bit too personal. How many winter scarves are you currently wearing? In July? Or what about candles with a pumpkin aroma that are left on the shelf in the living room while spring flowers grow outside? Until I observed how one Japanese grandmother in Nagano handled seasonal goods, I didn't give it much thought either. She didn't keep them in storage. She turned them around like crops. She referred to it as the shoebox system, inspired by the Japanese idea of shaun, which refers to savoring things while they are at their best. No, food isn't the only issue here. This way of thinking affects how your home is organized. I never thought of it. 4 storage boxes, each labeled with the season, are typical in Japan: autumn, winter, spring, and summer. However, it's not about throwing stuff away at random. In order to allow your home breathing room for what's happening right now, it's important to carefully curate and remove unnecessary objects. Heavy bedding, winter slippers, seasonal decor, and some kitchenware, such as bamboo noodle trays or oden pots, are all put away as soon as the season is over. Why? Due to the modest size of Japanese dwellings. Yes, but partly because clutter is temporal as well as physical. A subtle psychological weight is added when mismatched seasonal goods are present. Your brain feels disoriented, hurried, behind schedule, and out of sync when your surroundings don't correspond with the season. Actually, Kyoto University studies revealed that those who often, even if their living areas were smaller than 500 square feet, people who rotated seasonal goods expressed a 22% increase in enjoyment. Last spring, I gave it a try. I folded up the bulky knit throws, boxed my aromatic pine candles, and packed up my thick flannel sheets. My living room felt lighter and fresher all of a sudden. Here's the secret ingredient. As I take things out or put them away, this creates organic moments of reflection every season. Do I still use this, I wonder? Is this still how I feel? Without the pressure of a complete cleansing, that little practice slowly promotes decluttering. Therefore, don't start by wondering what to get rid of the next time you feel like your house is cluttered, but don't know where to start. Find out what time of day it is and allow your house to be present with you. Silent slippers at every threshold are the third hack. Micro-zone hygiene's secret strength. Let me tell you about something that, when I first discovered it, completely astounded me. I was lodging at a comfortable guest house owned by a retired educator close to Kyoto, and I started to reach for the restroom door, but stopped myself. There was another pair of slippers waiting. Simple beige slippers, not outside shoes or domestic slippers. Just for the loo. She then grinned and said something that has resonated with me ever since. Different types of dirt are found on each floor. Slippers are more than just shoes in Japanese homes. They patrol the border. It is impossible to move from one zone to another without altering them. Entrance. Put on some house slippers. Restroom. Slippers for the bathroom only. The kitchen. Some even have cooking clogs that are waterproof. Furthermore, tradition isn't the only reason behind this. It is predicated on an exceptionally profound comprehension of invisible hygiene boundaries. According to a Tokyo Women's Medical University study, bathroom flooring in even the most spotless Japanese households have 10 times more bacteria per square centimeter than the rest of the house. However, there was 87% less bacterial transmission to the living room floors in houses with separate bathroom slippers. That is more than simply a statistic. There are microbiological repercussions to that lifestyle choice. The Gankan entryway, washu living room, and avuro bathroom are all considered sacred in Japanese homes, not because of superstition, but because it upholds hygiene, posture, and behavioral order. A sort of behavioral switch is created by slippers. It felt strange at first when I started using soft bathroom slippers right inside the door at home, but eventually something clicked. My gait slowed. I moved more deliberately, and the flooring remained clean for a longer period of time since I wasn't bringing moisture from the bathroom into the bedroom. I've gone one step further now. My kitchen slippers are rubberized and comfortable, which relieves foot fatigue. Additionally, a brand new pair of washable house slippers is waiting by the door for visitors. It gave the residents a spa-like atmosphere, according to one visitor. It's true, but I laughed. It's not about making an impression. It concerns the definition of peace at the level of the spirit. Give it a try. Keep a pair of slippers at your bathroom door, even if you live alone or in a tiny flat. One small step at a time, you'll feel the line and safeguard your house. The morning cloth ritual is the second hack. Cleaning Kitori and the psychology of beginning again. Every culture has a morning ritual. Some folks journal, some drink coffee, and still others use their phones while half asleep. However, the first deed of the day is not for oneself in many Japanese households, particularly among older generation. For the floor, that is. Allow me to clarify. Seniors in Japan typically begin their days with a simple cloth. Simple, usually cleaning down with a reused towel, the entry mat, or the hallway by hand. They were silently wiping on their knees without vacuuming or sweeping. It's called cheer, which means dust taking in exact translation. But dust isn't the only issue. It's a practice that recharges the energy in the house. I once stayed in a small wooden home in Shizuoka with a retired librarian. She knelt in the gunkan and cleaned the entry tiles every morning at 6:15. She said to me every day, rain or shine, it's the dust I don't see that troubles me most. I initially believed that this was just about being careful. However, the deeper significance is astounding. Cleaning is a type of mind training known as suji in traditional Japanese philosophy, especially in Zen Buddhism Bot. It's not merely not so much about getting rid of dirt as it is about getting rid of the invisible weight that builds up as we sleep. People who clean by hand within 30 minutes of waking up had lower cortisol levels and better executive function throughout the day, according to a Waseda University study. Why? Before you take your first sip of tea, intentional physical action coupled with tactile repetition keeps your brain in the present and gives you a sense of instant accomplishment. I began experimenting with this myself. There was only a tiny hand-wiped patch of floor next to the front door. And you know what? My breathing, posture, and sensation of control all changed as a result. It had nothing to do with cleansing more. It was about being more gentle at first. There were fewer shoe prints in the home, I noticed. Reduced dust tracking in. Even my thoughts were less disorganized for some reason. Cleaning your entire home before breakfast is not the goal of this trick. It's about accepting the area you inhabit, reading the day by carefully taking care of the mess before responding to it. One cloth, one corner, one silent gesture of reverence for your house and your own beginning. The Maya principle is the first hack. Make deliberate empty space and protect it. It's probably not the decor if you've ever gazed at a Japanese room and felt strangely at ease, as if a sigh had just passed through the room. It's the mother. When it comes to Japanese design, Magan is one of the most ingrained, misinterpreted, and potentially most transformative ideas. Yes, it refers to space, but not merely emptiness. It's the purposeful space between items, the purposeful lack of clutter that make presence apparent. This was something I originally saw in a tea room in N. There's only a modest table, 2 cushions, and a solitary porcelain cup in the middle. There are no paintings on the wall, a couch, or a rug. It was not chilly. It was revered. This is how my host, an old man with 40 years of experience in tea ceremony, explained it. The heart may move freely because of the space between items. And I was affected by that. Space is often filled by Western design. Gallery walls, shelves, and centerpieces. Yet Japanese homes frequently eliminate more than they add. Even in cramped urban apartments, people intentionally leave a shelf slightly empty. A tabletop is left bare, and a corner is left empty. Why? Since the eye requires rest. The brain needs visual quiet to prioritize and interpret information. This is the crazy part. It is supported by neuroscience. Open, uncluttered spaces boost long-term focus and reduce cognitive tiredness by 34%, according to research published in Nature Human Behavior. For this reason, the KMORI technique is more than merely making people happy. It's about creating space for more. I took a peek around my house. After discovering this, I became aware that every surface was vying for my attention. So I started with a single rule. Every room should have one deliberate vacant space. A shelf, a portion of countertop, the top of the dresser. Next, this part is crucial. I protected it with reverence rather than guilt or rules. That area turned into a sort of haven. There, nothing is dropped. Just room, no mail, no mugs. And eventually, that void turned into the room's most soothing feature. It didn't do anything, not because it did something. Have you ever had the impression that your house was closing in on you? If every item seems like a list of things to do, if every wall seems to be whispering, "Clean me," additional storage is not necessary. More maps are needed, Poe. Allow anything to remain empty. Give your house a breath. And you will too, I swear. A larger home is not necessary. You don't require additional storage containers, an additional cleaning app, or a visit to the container shop. We all need to start viewing the house as a friend rather than a project. One that pays attention to how we handle it. One that mirrors our thoughts back to us. These 7 Japanese housekeeping practices are not magical. They're not even brand new. They are frequently undetectable, silent, and repeatable. However, they function because your home was never intended to be flawless. They were designed to make your house clear, light, and livable. A place where you can breathe again. Maybe you try just one. Perhaps you choose the one that seemed to speak to you directly. After a week, you might notice that the bathroom smells a little better. The dishes don't pile up. Or even if nothing else in your life has changed, your mornings seem more seamless. That is these habits' power. They do more than merely clear your counters. They make room in your mind. Please leave a comment and let me know which of these suggestions you plan to use first if you find any of them useful. Go ahead and like, and subscribe if you're prepared for more straightforward real-life tactics that genuinely make your days feel easier rather than tougher. Your home doesn't have to be perfect, which tells me you're walking this route with me. All it has to do is feel like yours. I appreciate you coming, and I'll see you in the next.